Jumping at the bit to access.
We had 4 people. One of them was me.
Okay,
We remember it all,
Oops.
yeah,
don't worry.
That's okay.
And where did
We're
it
just,
go? Where did the recordings
well,
go?
that's a good question.
Because I went to meetings and agendas and
They're supposed
there's
to be
nothing there.
uploaded by Kevin, is my understanding, and I don't think that that's been happening lately, so. We have them. If you want to watch it.
no, I was
We
just
have
curious
them,
to
yeah.
see like what it
Yes.
sounded like, what it,
Yeah, we have them, and so that's when Angela's doing her minutes, she'll a lot of times go back and watch it just to be sure she's got everything accurate, so.
one thing we didn't talk about in the building committee that you mentioned in your report was the children's room carpet.
Yeah,
You said you've requested another quote. What is the quote for?
so, the original quote, came from a company that, Nick from Facilities has identified as, someone that they'd used before, and, you know, they were, very happy with their service. So they gave us the quote for, a very durable, hi, come on in.
I guess someone else didn't come in, so I wasn't sure if I could come back.
No, come on in, have a seat, this is McKenna. You guys
Hi,
want to
McKenna.
introduce yourselves, or do you want me to, this is Sarah, this is Carolyn, this is Elaine. You know, Angela, and this is Steve.
Hi.
So McKenna's been with us a while now. 8 months, something like, it's gone by really fast, yeah, yeah. Sarah must know her because she came to us from Buttonwoods and.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and, well, you tell about yourself, what you're working on now and what kinds of things you're up to.
Well, you'll see at the front desk, so circulation. You know, I don't, I don't know what to say. Sorry, I'm nervous.
Nothing to be nervous
I
about.
just realized,
It's a cocktail
Yeah.
party.
Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I just
right.
feel like
Minus the cocktails.
I didn't introduce Alex, I'm sorry. But you graduated with a degree in art history, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
art history, yeah.
yeah, and so, and now you're working on another degree?
Yes, in a museum studies master's program.
It's
So
amazing, yeah.
hopefully in the future, would love to work in a museum.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to work in a library, so that's why I'm here.
Kind of like a museum here.
Yeah.
There are similarities, yeah.
So she's been working with Alice, and Allison's library degree had a sort of focus on archival work, and so McKenna's expressed an interest in that, and so they've been coming in and trying to make sense of everything that's in here. We added those new shelves, and so things have had to be shifted around and kind of categorize everything that we have, and I don't know, make it all easy to find what is in here, rather than just, you know, look at it and try to find what you're looking for, so. Which is helpful, it's
Yeah.
fantastic, I mean,
Yeah.
it's, there's so much here that we have that,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here.
yeah, but you don't even know, and some of it is, it's a lot of it, if it's just a person that lived in Cohasset
Mhm.
and wrote a book, or there's like a little bit 45 recording that someone made that's from Cohasset, or if the book mentions Cohasset or any connection to the town, we have those things here. It's not necessarily historical in the sense.
And
but
I learned on 143 TV that we even have yearbooks here.
We have, yes,
Yeah.
Oh my
yes,
goodness.
yes, we
Yeah.
do. They're
One of
all
the
over
most visited
here,
items,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, we have a lot of yearbooks, and I think that they were digitized as well, but I'm not certain about that. Yeah, and that, what was that, a stereoscope or
Yes.
whatever that thing was, yeah, that was really cool.
The precursor to three
Yeah,
glasses.
exactly, yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff in here, but. Do you have questions for?
I have a
Anna?
question.
I knew you would.
What sort of ideas have you thought about as you have done art history and museum studies that you think might have some relationship with how a library could expand what it's doing or do things differently? Very broad,
No
general.
pressure.
Yeah, but no, I always throw out questions Generally, they're not very useful, but you might,
Thesis, by the way.
what did you say?
This will be her thesis, by the way.
Yeah,
I mean, well, a lot of libraries, like, they have their own art exhibits now, like we have ours.
yeah. Mhm.
And I do think we have so much historical stuff, we could find ways to display that somewhere in the library. So people don't have to like make an appointment to come in here and see it. But I mean, I would say,
Mhm.
like, comparing the two, I would say that's kind of more.
What about, Carol and I were just recently talking about the Richardson White family in town that goes back 4 generations or 3 generations, 6 generations. And there are things where it'd be kind of cool to highlight some of the contributions made by those descendants, because eventually there's going to be more activity around their descendants.
Very cagey, Steve.
Very cagey. Well, I'll let you speak to the issue. I just see, there's so many opportunities for cross collaboration that benefit both groups, and they just keep popping to the surface. And you know, they have some artists in their family.
Richardson White was a sculptor, and he's known for his horse sculptures.
Oh,
And his ability to capture movement and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there are some of his sculptures at the Museum of Fine Arts.
oh,
apparently.
really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
He may even have a sculpture at the St. Gaudens Museum in New Hampshire. Know about that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. A lot, and then plus there's a bunch of connections with the Adams from this
Oh,
area.
That's cool.
So there's a lot of
Yeah.
potential to bring
Sounds like
this.
you guys should get together.
And we are culturally curious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Well, we're really glad to have you.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Thanks for popping in.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love seeing it.
next time we'll ask you easier questions.
Thanks, Jonathan. That's great. Anyway, back to the rug, yeah, so it was a company that they had recommended, they got the quote, they were gonna install this very durable style rug that you could, they kept saying, draw on it with a Sharpie and it would clean up. I don't know why the kids would have Sharpies, but that's another.
But could they sit on it comfortably? That's it, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
before
they
we
were
make
gonna
any-
bring in samples,
Yeah,
there's the whole
yeah.
thing. So, when I did reach out to them to say, could we get samples? And then the quote was more than a year old, so let's get an updated quote. We've gotten permission from, capital budget to purchase this. They said, oh, it turns out based on the subfloor, that carpet will not work.
Right. So the next was that they were gonna come back with some other suggestions
they-
or.
But before they give us a quote, shouldn't we like
Yeah.
look at some samples and
Yeah,
figure
they
out
were
what
gonna
we
come back
want?
with other suggestions and ideas. of
But I
what
thought your
would work.
report said they were coming back with another quote.
Well, another quote from reach out to other companies and find out what was available or what kinds of things.
Okay, so it's
yeah,
really
I
just
guess, you know,
samples that'll
yeah.
come and stuff that we can
As far as I
evaluate.
know, I mean,
Okay.
I've talked to Nick a number of times. He said he's reached out to the company. They haven't responded. It's, you know, again, very challenging that I could reach out to companies, carpet companies,
So-
but I think that it's supposed to come through facilities, so.
Yeah,
You know what I
okay, that's
mean?
why I happen to be cleaning out a bunch of stuff in my office and I did find the receipt from the carpet company that did the carpet squares. In
Mhm.
my files, which I think I've given a copy to Megan. I don't know if it ended up in your hands.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean-
we can explore that, but they, you know, they've done our carpet squares, so they kind of know, they're a
Yeah,
known
yeah.
entity, maybe Nick
Yeah.
can reach out to them, or
Okay,
you
yeah,
can,
yeah.
and then tell Nick, this is what I learned. I'm sure he wouldn't say no if you took it.
I mean,
Over and
again,
then
I'm
got
more than
him to
willing
order
do it. It's just, you know, the protocol is usually the experts are the ones that do do the legwork, and same with IT, and tell them what we need. And
We're
then-
the experts, just saying,
Well, yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
Modesty does not allow you to go into the full reasons.
yes.
What was the issue with the subflooring?
sorry?
What was the issue with the subfloor?
Oh, only understanding is that whatever flooring we have down there is not compatible with the carpet that they had chosen. So they have to
So,
find a different
think-
carpet.
I think Carolyn's point also is before anything is chosen, that
Yes,
a few of us should be
yes,
looking at those and
Yes.
considering comfort, functionality,
right,
Looks,
Right.
longevity,
right.
aesthetics.
I mean, I wasn't, I was tangentially a part of the first thing, and as I recall.
that's why I'm saying
Yeah.
you're the experts,
Yeah.
like, you know, we
As I
should be
understand-
figuring out what we want.
Yeah.
You can order it, but we should say this is
Yeah.
what we want.
Yes, yes, as I recall, the last time they came in and, the Nick and Jake were really pushing hard and said, this is the product you want. You don't need to look any further. That's how I would call it. I was only sitting at Angela's desk and listening to it. It wasn't my decision or anything like that. This was a few
That
years ago.
doesn't ring right to me. I don't think facilities should be deciding what carpet goes in the library. I mean, I think that, sourcing and that sort of
Yeah.
thing, but the library should have a
I mean, I
say.
think that based on their expertise, I'm assuming that they are very involved in what goes in at the schools.
But
in the
meanwhile, it wasn't
departments.
compatible, so.
If we
Yeah.
pick something that's too expensive or that,
Yeah.
doesn't last or something like that, get their input, absolutely.
Okay.
But, I don't want them choosing what color goes in there
Yeah,
or
I
what
don't
it
think that
feels
the color
like,
was
just,
chosen.
oh, this
I
is
think-
gonna last forever, yeah, but it feels like sandpaper,
Yeah.
like.
My recollection is the color was not chosen, it was the brand of the carpet. Because that was supposed to be the most durable and easy, cleanable,
Mhm.
rather than have things, stain it. So that was my understanding, and again, that was now a couple of years ago.
Right.
Because when we went
I
to
was still
capital
making this
budget,
here.
our quote was a year old even then, so. It's very, very slow moving and it's frustrating, and so I'm happy to, start the conversation with, we'll look and we'll come back with what we
It's-
like.
It sounds like the faster path is what Carolyn's articulating is like, let's take it on. But it would be good to find out what it is that the subfloor, since seems to be some intelligent or some information data there, we should probably utilize that as we
Right,
begin the search.
right.
But
Because that might impact another style, if we pick
Mhm.
another brand, it
Right.
might be a problem as
Right.
well.
so sadly, I tend to, as much as I want to believe that the experts are in the that are out there. I think based on our experience with technology and it's based on the quickness that these guys are acting on this carpet thing, I think we do have to just get scrappy and move forward on these things on our own and choose what we want and then beg for forgiveness later and let's move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I understand we're, small department, obviously schools take precedent, but at some point. We're just wasting our time by sitting back and waiting for them to do what they need to do. So,
Would you like me to reach out to my friend Nora, who's helped us with a lot of the furniture and everything and picking the fabrics for that and she does commercial carpet too.
Okay.
And if she has the capacity, maybe she can bring us some samples
Sure.
and we can at least start a conversation.
I know I have seen, I gotta remember where it is now, but we had a little, like a sample book
Mhm.
that probably came from the carpet square people, I'm assuming. I look around
Maybe.
and see. Yeah, so, yeah. I mean,
And we know that those carpet squares worked and were compatible, so maybe that's
Those
also. a
carpet
good
Yeah.
were also like
source.
patients had them like custom designed, like we
The
want this
colors,
color and
yeah,
this
right,
color and
yeah.
this color and
We
this color.
don't need to
But
go
we
there.
need to do
But it was
that.
still,
But
it was
is the
still,
children's room the same,
reasonably-
I think that's different.
it's,
Yeah,
the
that's
children's
what-
room carpet, I believe, is still original.
Okay.
We had
Yes,
to
I believe
replace
so,
the
Okay.
adult area.
Gotcha.
And it was 2009. So it was only like 8 years old.
Yeah.
The original stuff, I guess, just didn't
Really,
wear well,
Wow.
which is why we went with the carpet squares.
yeah, yeah.
So
And that's
it's
been working well.
Mhm.
That's been successful.
definitely, because
because
when we
we've
move
swapped
the
out a few
the
things
shelves and
yeah,
that sort of
and
thing,
just-
you know, we can actually
yeah.
do something about it.
Yeah, so, okay, well, we'll press on and stop waiting. And then I think the only other thing I wanted to just, we'll have a thing about, we dressed up for Halloween, which was really fun. And, the only other thing is I was looking at our strategic plan and, I can share the screen, or if we want to just move on, that's fine, about how we're doing, and thought we were really meeting a lot of the.
That would be great.
goals.
I think it's good for you to highlight that.
Yeah,
I glanced at it, and
That
I was,
multicolored one, I thought that was wonderful, I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
I was very pleased with the traction in year one.
yeah, I mean, there's some things that are, we're continuing to work on, but I think it's really important to, every so often take a look and see what the goals were.
Definitely.
And,
Can you make that a little bit larger?
don't know.
Maybe, maybe not.
Right?
Look at, go to
You could go
view.
on your, she sent it to us, so you could go on your computer.
It's on.
I know,
full
but I
screen.
need,
Oh,
I need repetition.
It's right here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look at that.
There you
Look at that.
It's it's already on
Thank
full
you.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did we lose Alan?
The piece behind the.
Yeah,
she minimized it. You arrange, bring the front.
Yeah.
I'm here.
It's not looming anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's just a voice coming out of an owl.
Yeah,
So, as you can tell, the different colors sort of, designate, the cost. They all are, listed as being high impact, but then it's just what's feasible and what, is a relatively lower cost to implement. We've had increased staff training to continue to provide visitors a great sense of belonging. We've really ramped that up for the staff. We were able to find this group called Library Juice Academy, and the MBLC offered grants for scholarships for any staff member who applied. They're about $250 each, and you could take all different kinds of classes. So a number of staff members have taken advantage of that. Sarah in the children's room has taken a few things about how to run a successful book group and early childhood literacy. And I think McKenna had done something about digital work, digital archiving. We've also done customer service training. I mentioned the Narcan training. So I think it's really giving them extra skills to do their jobs better. Increased program partnerships. We've been working quite a bit more with the senior center. We're back working more with the schools. That has sort of fallen off a little bit. Homework center is back up and running, although it varies between being very slow and then other times is busier. We might switch it to one day a week and have the pizza come back again, which seems to be the big draw to get the kids to come in. Let's see, the conversations happen here, provide programs and relevant topics locally, nationally, and globally with experts in their field. I thought I had changed that a little bit, but that's something I think we need to focus on a little bit more, and work on what kinds of things do we want to provide a forum for at the library. Encourage our community partners to use our meeting room, that the room is used constantly. Safe Harbor uses it all the time. Holly Hills started to use it for their meetings. The cemetery, the Democrats and the Republicans meet there. Social Services has had meetings there as well. So I think we're doing a good job utilizing that space. create structured and unstructured venues to connect people with similar and diverse interests. We are working on all ages programming, which had been sort of something that people have brought up in a few of our meetings that they, I think it was at one of the Friends meetings, Lanier said, oh, the young adults were doing terrariums. Well, I want to make a terrarium, why can't I go to that? And she was right, that there's things that are not necessarily just teens. We do kind of want to also offer a program that is just teens, because some teens will not be comfortable having, adults along with them.
Totally.
And I get
Yeah.
that, but there's also some things that it's kind of fun to have older people and younger people, working together. I don't know if we've mentioned before, but Kristen's going to do a program this spring that's, what's it called, teeny art?
Yeah,
Something
tiny,
like
tiny,
tiny art.
tiny art.
Something like that, and it's these little canvases, and they have easel stands,
Oh, cool.
and it's sort of a take and make. Where people can come and pick them up, and they can paint on them, they can glue things on, they can do all kind, whatever they wanna make. And then we're gonna have an art show
Oh,
at
fun.
the end, and they're small,
Mhm,
so
yeah.
it'll be all along
They're so
the
cute.
stacks, they're
Yeah.
really adorable, and that can be any age, and people can collaborate and do whatever they wanna do, and so it's gonna be kind of interesting to see what we come up with. Let's see, where were we? Oh, so then, the red implement technology in the study rooms to create a 21st century office experience. The smart TVs, that's something we're working on. Some of the other things, soundproofing. I think I'm certainly happy to look into it. I think that may be something that is maybe a little bit outside of what we can accomplish, at least right now.
Can I ask, how do you define a smart TV?
So, a smart TV is one that it can do all sorts of different things. It can connect with the laptop, you can write on it, you can have them in the schools, you
Oh,
can
okay.
project things, it's a kind of a multi-purpose sort of a device. And, we used to, in those study rooms, we had whiteboards, and we'd have
Right.
tutors would be writing up there. When it got painted, we took them down, so it'd be something that they could use. But you could also have a meeting and be using it, you could use it for a lot of different purposes. So, improve our world decor, we did move the fiction shelves, I think that really has lightened it up. We're working on the signage, I already talked about that before, so we're trying to do what we can with what we have. Creative outreach avenues, Jen started going to the town meetings, she's been at the farmer's market. And the welcome bags have been, we've been getting a list from the assessor's office when new people move to town, we've been bringing them the bags, and that's been very well received. So we're just any way that we can, trying to get out in the community and meet and greet, I guess. Provide increased services to areas of town or members who might otherwise feel disconnected. So we're still doing our homebound deliveries. It has fallen off a bit as a few people have passed away, so we're trying to,
Can't do much about that.
unfortunately,
They
yeah.
take longer to return the books.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some long-term people, it's actually, it's sad. But we also wanna maybe talk about if it's someone, maybe they injured themselves or they have something, had surgery. That might be, it doesn't have to necessarily be an elderly person, it could be just someone who can't.
I
get up
broke
for
my
that.
foot a couple of years ago and I thought you had to be 65 to have Elder Affairs provide transportation. And at the age of 60, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Such a nice
Yes.
gentleman came to my house, picked me up, brought me to physical therapy, but that would be.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that's a
maybe I
common.
could have used somebody
you could've-
bringing me a
yeah,
golf
Would have been
over there,
nice,
yeah.
right? Yeah, I think that's a common misperception about the senior centers that you have to be
Mhm.
65. And that's something I think they're trying to get, the word out that, you can be younger.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful building, so it's a nice place to go. So that's, we're trying to, we have the social worker hours, we're trying to meet the needs of people who may need other services. Inclusive, create safe spaces for discussions on diversity and inclusion. Jen has been really forward thinking about some of the multicultural programming. When she first interviewed for the job, that was something that she wanted to enhance our offerings at the library, and so she did this fantastic Day of the Dead program that was all day on a Saturday. And they built this amazing altar, and people brought in pictures of loved ones who'd passed away. They did a cooking
Wow.
program. They showed a movie, a children's movie, which is all about Day of the Dead, and it was just a really great all ages multicultural program. Lunar New Year, and trying to look for other opportunities to do other things as well. Celebrating diversity, still celebrating Pride Month. We did some Juneteenth programs. Hispanic Heritage Month was just this last month, I believe, so she had some programming centered around that as well, so we are trying to be cognizant of that. The next is center of it all. Work with our partners, to create larger events that will appeal to different personas of town. That's something that's gonna be, I think, not as easy to implement. Those are a lot of work to create these large townwide programs. We were talking about doing something smaller scale. We're thinking of doing books and brews over at Split Rock in the summer. That would be kind of a nice place to hang out and do some, just, book talks and that kind of thing. So that's a work in progress. First Friday, all after our special events, Allison's changed her schedule where she'll be working more Fridays, and she runs the young adult programming, so she has been already started running a fair amount of programs on Fridays, and sometimes they are after hours, and sometimes they're right after school, and they've been very popular. She's done different Switch gaming nights, and she's done crafts and mini golf and that sort of thing, so. Create an in-between place for teens. They come in all the time now, they really do. She's really made the library a fun place to be, and she's very successful on that end. Create space that's conducive to increased noise levels, so she's been closing the doors in the YA room. There's still glass, so you can see what's going on in there, but I think it makes that age group feel more comfortable coming in and not feeling like everyone's listening to what they're doing, or someone's gonna come in and tell them to quiet down. And as you also know, we've created the quiet room in the periodicals room so that people can kind of get away from any excess noise. And then the homework center experience, and we are now partnering back again with the Honor Society.
Didn't we talk about getting signage?
For
over
the young adult room.
No, for
No.
the periodical room to also be
Yeah.
like the quiet room.
It says it there.
There is
Yeah.
signage, it's not as, it's more just a stand with a sign
Yeah.
on it, it's not something
Mhm.
that's, more
Permanent.
yeah, yeah.
I think Megan looked into that and it was gonna be really
Expensive.
expensive.
Yeah, she had some idea, she was gonna
Yeah.
take I forgot what it was like a board or a glass or something, she was gonna have it painted on it, and it just turned out it was gonna cost. quite a bit.
I thought the one there, I got the message the other day.
You got the
loud and
message.
clear.
And that room is used quite a bit, and most people have headphones
Or
on,
quietly
they just
anyway.
work,
Yeah.
yeah, you were quiet, well, that's not loud and
Not as
clear, right?
But often, it was quiet when I was there.
Yeah, it's a
It
nice,
always is.
it's a great
It always
room,
is.
and it's got the sun coming in, and the tables are there, so
My
it's
favorite place.
it's really a nice area to use. Accurate information, monitor potential discourse in town by creating bi-weekly or monthly meetings on key issues, hosted by an expert or moderator to openly discuss pros, cons, and potential action. We've been trying to offer different programs to just kind of, with an expert speaker. I think this is something we probably could work on more. We've had programs on coyotes, the pros and cons. Some people are very anti-coyote, they also have the other side of that, local waterways about, uh, global warming, climate change, that sort of thing. And we did have an eclipse person come with, to give us some information about that. Better market our popular and relevant topics in the nonfiction collection. We put in a table back towards the periodicals realm that's dedicated to nonfiction displays. And Jen has started, when she has a program, say if it's about flower arrangement, she'll also put out some of our books that we have, so that if you come and you say, oh, I'd like to learn more about this, and then you can see what we have to offer. So I think that's helped expand awareness of what we have. Respond to current events with information and resources on our website and social media. This was actually something that Gail had that Jen has kept on her desk, and it's really interesting, and it has it's sort of a chart of from left to right, and it has all the different media sources and where they fall and where they're biased.
Oh, is that of
It's
all
really
sides?
interesting, yeah.
Yeah, it's from
I
all
think so,
sides,
yeah, it has a lot of different sources of news. And so you can kind of look at, oh, well, I always read the Boston Globe, oh, that's over here.
And the nice thing is that they do it based on the topic of the day, so you can
Yeah.
easily, and it's summarized, you can
Yes.
easily say what left,
Yes.
center and right.
Yeah, it's really,
are
it's
saying.
really interesting.
I
just to
completely
see.
disagree with it, but no, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. It's
Well, it
good,
is
but it's
funny
interesting.
that-
Some of them I was like, oh. really?
So because I used to order.
Expand, why?
Oh, no, go ahead. It's 7 o'clock anyway. I was just throwing that in.
No, it's interesting.
The
Why?
Atlantic, I was surprised that the Atlantic was far left. I thought it was reasonable. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it is funny because, so I used to order the newspapers when I had your job, and so I get a daily blurb from the Globe and blurb from the Herald. And then some days, the articles are just what the topics they're talking about are different. They're not even discussing
Yeah.
the same things.
Yeah.
And then other times it's just a totally different slant on the same topic, but it's really fascinating how you can see that if you get your information from one source, that's flavoring how you see the world. So it's really-
Right.
it's
I mean,
interesting.
it'd be fun to talk some more about that, because I think that's a critical issue going forward for the country, because half of the people are saying they don't like the other half. And yet, those of us that have met a lot of people in the country, hard pressed to say how a Democrat mistreated me or a Republican mistreated me. But if you're just getting fed the social media,
Yeah.
so I think somehow getting folks to look at something like that is absolutely critical towards number 5, item 1.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
what-
it is, the question is, what kind of, who is this person to be and how do we get them to come? But you're right, I mean, it's really, I had the same feeling about the Atlantic because I do get those articles too.
Yeah.
So.
But it's based on,
fascinating, yeah.
on a sample of 100,000 people.
Oh, okay.
So the way that comes is that you go in and you say, I think the Atlantic is center. And that's then mixed with everybody else that sees it as left. And so the more that you talk to others about looking at that and they rate, the more accurate the assessments will be.
Yeah. I don't know, it's hard, right? Because, I mean, like NPR now has been told they're not, producing facts, but since facts are up for debate at this point, I think it's really become difficult to pick.
I'm guessing that there probably is less and less occupying center and more and more.
Yeah, I
think
gotta look
both
back at
sides.
that.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Although I don't think it,
The center will not
Yeah.
hold.
Mhm.
yeah, although that's not what it looks like, I don't think. I'm pretty sure there were a lot,
In the center,
that's
yeah.
interesting. I think you're right, but there were a lot in the center.
I mean, I've tried just for fun since the election, talking with people that I know had a different perspective and just listening, which is hard for me.
He's still laughing.
We all got the joke.
What's that?
We all got it.
So I can stop laughing?
No, I agree.
Yeah, well, I think if everyone listened a little more and talked a little less, it things would be, a lot more information would be shared. Okay, let's
still have
wrap
time.
up. Reliable access, enhanced library spaces become more conducive to work from home population. We're hoping to create new workspace in the lobby. We have the quiet room in the back. Evaluate the library's hours of operation. That's something that we have talked about a number of times. It's generally quite quiet from 7 to 8 at night. And we do have people knocking on the doors when we open at 10, perhaps we shift to 9 to 7. Megan did install the people counter that breaks it down by hours, so you can look and see when we're busy. Maybe certain days we're busy later. I don't know, you need to look into that. The question then is, do we have issues with the union? Because there's a pay differential if you work after 5 o'clock. If we close early, then that's less
Oh, I see.
pay, and so we'd have to get an agreement on that sort of thing, so.
It'd be interesting, also interesting to look and see how many times this room and the study rooms are used after, you know, between 7 and 8, if you were to close, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
there
then
are,
It's not just the patrons, like
Right.
if the rooms are being used.
Yeah, I mean, we do allow the meeting room to be used after hours.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said this room and meetings.
Yeah.
Study rooms.
Yeah, I don't think we generally don't allow people to stay in any of these rooms after hours. So
Right.
it would have to.
So if
it
you
would
closed
just
at
be-
7,
Yeah, it would be between the 7 and 8.
that might be a problem for people.
Yeah.
If they're getting a lot of use after 7, I don't know if they are or not.
Yeah,
But then being open after 7 does let the working population have a chance
Yeah,
at the library.
yeah, I mean, it's a difficult question, and I mean, in a perfect world, we'd hire more staff and just be open 9 to, you know, a lot of
9 to
libraries are
8.
open till 9 at night.
Yeah.
I don't think here that would really be worthwhile,
No.
use of our time, but, maybe it's something like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are busy, so we're open till 8 those days, and we close earlier, and on Thursday, evenings are usually quite slow. Maybe we close at 5 on Thursdays or something, it doesn't have to be all or nothing, it's something to look at, so. But it's a work in progress. Contribute to emergency management's connectivity goals. I'm assuming that means upgrading our IT. And that is, we have talked to them about expanding the Wi-Fi. They've come here a number of times and looked for our access points. They lost one of the access points that was installed before. I don't know what's that all is all about. I did talk to them about when the pavilion is up and running, they will add another one so that we can use it outside. You know, that's, I think, really important. So it's an ongoing project as well. And then just the staff, hey.
I had a technology club, so I got disconnected and I just,
Oh, but when we put that up, we took you.
We
off.
didn't even know you were.
good.
Funny.
Here's what we're discussing.
No, I know we were discussing, sorry, I was on that and then I was on a call, I had to drive my daughter to basketball practice and I got disconnected, I couldn't reconnect, so I just figured I'd come back. Sorry.
Well, welcome. Well, it's like magic. Yeah, I know, that's so funny, you came out.
I just didn't I didn't want to.
First you're disembodied in the owl.
My concern was like, I didn't want to screw up the quorum in case there's something had to be.
Yes, we have to do.
Yes.
So that's why I was like, I know we
Oh,
all
that's
like,
right.
where's Alex, where's Alex? I'm like, so.
Yeah.
Let's do the bills.
Yep, so I think we're down to with staff and then we've already talked about, I think, most of the things that are on there.
He's
so.
doing it.
Steve's approved.
Yeah, so that's all I had on
Well
that.
done.
And
I think this looks really good, by the way. I looked at, I know I missed some part of the presentation, but I think it looks really good.
Yeah.
Do we wanna wait till we
So,
vote
so
on
just
it?
as a matter of formality, before everybody signs, can we just,
Vote on it.
does anybody have any questions about the
You're in
bills,
charge.
any comments?
Um,
Yes, I am in charge.
Yeah.
Well,
Just before-
Actually, there was one that I saw that was, I thought was a little hefty, and I can't remember what it was.
It was the $11,812 lease from Baker and Taylor. Was it that?
Yeah.
There was, yeah, almost a $12,000 charge, and that's just the leasing program from Baker Taylor,
Oh,
the
okay.
books
So
we
it's
lease
annual one.
for the
time.
whole year,
Yeah.
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 So that's the only reason why it was, it's because it was, I think.
Yeah.
But in general, it should have just been, regular.
Yeah.
Books. A lot of stuff for children's, like the launch pads and the Wonder Books and stuff.
How is the spread in expenses going between electronic and physical?
Oh, we buy a lot of books. But
How much was overdrive this month?
yeah, like it's,
Here it is.
I guess it's the same, right? Between $1,500 per book. Oh, no. No, books is always way more. Right? Like. When we buy, like overdrive stuff is, I would say between $1,500 and $2,500. But books is always,
Mhm.
between 8,000 and 12,000, I would say.
So Overdrive is which services is that? It's just Overdrive, or is it like
It's
Libby? or-
It's Libby,
Libby,
yeah,
yeah.
so it. and
Hoopla is
it's,
separate.
So it's.
Hoopla is a separate
it's
one, that's
Libby
part of
books
Midwest
and-
Tate.
Okay, I just wondered if it was
Yeah.
Libby, oh, it's Libby, okay.
Yeah, it's Libby, yeah.
Okay.
It's changed its name a number of times,
Yeah.
but now it's
Libby.
called Libby, yeah.
Yeah, because even if we said Hoopla and overdrive, like that's still
Yeah,
maybe
Yeah.
3,000 a month compared to like
8.
10
Yeah.
Yeah.
for books. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a big difference there.
And another crazy question, is there any thought to try to convert folks from physical books to electronic sources?
No.
No,
Think that.
and I think people go back and forth, right? Like if I can't get through a physical book, then I go and download one. Like I'm trying to, do
Uh-huh.
both.
I think in a perfect world, people would use both.
Yeah.
I use both.
I
Yeah,
use both too.
but we want people to come in.
But I don't
Right.
think,
Yeah.
well, I don't think the
Can I quote
library
you?
should be promoting people to move away from.
Why?
Because I think people learn better from.
Is there data? What's your source?
Yes, there is
There is
data.
data.
There is
Really?
data.
Yeah.
There is data.
Seriously,
Yes,
Yeah.
there is
There
data,
is
really?
that you learn better from looking at a piece of paper with printing on it.
And what's?
We're gonna talk this offline, because it is not just that.
Also,
Well,
also
from
the
what-
health issues behind looking at your phone or your tablet
And
versus.
I think
at
from
night
our
versus
standpoint, we
reading
want
from a
people to
book.
come in.
Right,
Yeah.
If
physically.
no one's coming in
And
there, then it's.
everybody
And the
has
whole,
time.
third place building community and
Yes,
everything
yes.
else.
Right.
Okay, just
Download.
trying to get some dialogue.
You got All right,
Okay, so we have, yes.
Do we have a
Roll call.
motion to approve? And,
so moved.
Second,
okay, Carolyn Coffey,
Aye.
Sarah
Keys?
Keys, yes.
Alice Terry.
Yes,
Steve Brown,
Yes,
Elaine Breslow, yes. So the motion carries. Minutes or the finances are approved. Good.
Do you have a report to do?
Do I have a report? No, but I came prepared. I have some library trivia.
Oh.
Oh, Alex, did you wanna get something?
This will be brief.
Do
Yeah,
you wanna get something in before we go into trivia?
I just wanted to bring a question up that I meant to ask earlier, but I didn't have the name of the program. Are we taking advantage of the E-rate program?
It's really funny that you should ask that. Yes, Jen is doing a deep dive in it.
Okay,
It's very, very complicated
okay,
and it's a lot of work. There's a lot of forms to fill out and then tracking. I think that there's a meeting next week down in Plymouth that is an in-person meeting to talk about it more. She's attended. I watched a webinar, she watched one. So this year we're looking at, it may pay for our hotspots that circulate.
Yep.
That's kind of small money though, but there's a lot more money that's available.
I was thinking about the inconsistent Wi-Fi.
That's
That-
exactly, she was just
that-
talking to
the
me, it's so
infrastructure
funny
part.
she said, because we were talking about it today, that some libraries got funding to redo the entire
What's the name of the?
it's called the E.
It's called the E-rate program, and I know that the folks at Duxbury were looking at it.
Yeah.
And so my sister-in-law, my wife's sister-in-law, mentioned she's on the board of trustees there in Duxbury, and she mentioned it to me because I was mentioning the issues with
Yeah.
with Wi-Fi and
Yeah.
the inconsistency of it. She goes, well, we're looking at this thing called E-rate, and I was like, well, we're all part of the same
Network, yeah,
network, we
yeah.
should be doing it as a community. Anyway, so I wanted to make sure
Yeah,
that you were.
yeah, so I mean, we talked, Jen and I were talking about it today, and we said, you know, maybe it's something that. It doesn't pay for all of it, but it pays for a substantial amount of
Right.
it, and, you know, so we should get IT involved in this and. See if they would fund the rest of it, and so she's looking into, you know, how it works and what you have to do to get. But the last year. I'm not gonna remember the statistics right, but it was a very small number of libraries. Were awarded or requested money, and they were given, it was $200,000 was given out, so it was, there's a lot of money there. And you don't think a lot, they sort of. They intimidate you because the meeting is, they're like, well, it's a lot of paperwork, it's time consuming, but there's a lot of money there.
Yeah,
So,
it's
yeah.
like 90%, 20 to 90% of discounts, like it's, or
Yeah,
like huge.
yeah.
So it seems like it's, the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
I know it's
yeah,
bureaucratic, but it's.
So she's taken that on, and she's signed up to go to the meeting next week, I believe it's next week, down in Plymouth, and kind of get more answers of what kinds of, uses.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
I would think bigger than, just the hotspots. I would
Yeah,
think
well,
those-
that's sort of the low hanging thing, and they said that that's, you know, a lot of libraries just use it for that, but we have clearly larger needs and.
So did Duxbury actually get it approved, or are they in the process?
I think they're in the process. I don't know that they have gotten it approved yet.
Mhm.
I will
Yeah.
ask, but when I was having this discussion, I couldn't remember, like, and I wrote it down, of course, in in one year, not the other, but.
Do you happen to know the Duxbury Library
I
Director?
was just, that's where I was going.
I don't, I know some people who work in Duxbury, but I could certainly reach out. There's a director's meeting next. I think it's next week, that I was gonna go to, that's an in-person meeting, so I'm certainly happy. to
Cozy up
go
next
to
to her.
Yeah, right. So, can I see your paperwork so we can copy it? I mean, it's a little intimidating, the amount of work that is involved, but if other libraries are able to do it, then I don't see why we shouldn't at least, investigate it and see,
Yeah.
what it can get us.
Yeah, it's the FCC that's like, so of course it's federal dollars, right? So of course it's
Yeah, yeah.
It's all.
Well,
charter.
Apply now.
We get Musk in there, it's all gonna
Yeah.
be streamlined.
But yes, I will.
Musk and Trump are gonna come to blows.
I agree. All right, let's
Okay. back
Fair
to-
enough.
Over under on how many days it's gonna take.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Let's-
okay. So I was gonna do this, but I'm gonna skip it because we're running later than I
Okay.
think we
Well,
need
if we
to.
concluded the meeting,
Well, what
If anybody
we
wants
can
to
do-
say
we can do it
yes.
after the meeting.
Or maybe
Okay.
just hit one or two questions.
One or two questions. So does anyone know about the happy news that happened at the Worcester Public Library this week? What did they share? You know,
I do.
yeah, what happened? What happy news
I
did they?
don't
You
remember.
know, I emailed you.
She doesn't read.
I remember reading it. What was it about?
And you responded, okay.
I did. I remember.
It's on their
It's been a
Facebook,
really long week. And I
the library announced on their Facebook page that a book that
Oh,
had
yes,
been lost
Yeah.
Oh,
Now
that
it's
had
back to
been
me.
lost
Yeah.
since May of 22nd, 1973 was finally returned to the library. And it was returned because someone, a Boston resident, somehow, we don't know, got this book and said, oh, this is really overdue, brought it to the Cambridge Library, because it still had the cards in
50
it.
years overdue.
Brought it to the Cambridge Library, and the Cambridge Library sent it to the rightful owners, and anyway, so that
And
was
it was an
one
old book too. It
from
was- yeah,
1899.
Yeah.
It was acquired the same year by the library.
Wow.
Isn't that so cool? And they said it would be like something like $2,000 worth of fines, but
Fines.
since so many libraries no longer have fines,
Yeah,
Wow.
no.
that was it.
Kind of them.
Anybody know the most banned books or authors this year in schools?
I don't know.
No?
Who is it?
Jodi Picoult. Stephen Patrick McCormick, Jay Asher, Stephen King books, Sarah Moss, Ellen Hopkins. So books were banned in 173 instances across 26 school districts. And then anybody hear about the New York Public Library's fundraising gala this year? So they raise a ton of money and then they honor these lions because the
Oh, I
two
see. I
lions
know,
that are
and
in
they
front.
have
So
pictures of them
these
in the,
are lion
Times.
ambassadors. So Spike Lee was honored, Elizabeth Colbert, Amy Tan, Don Meacham, and Susie Laurie Parks. The end.
That's
Okay.
great, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I
Yeah,
thought we
love
should
that.
just, since there's
Yeah,
no
what's
report,
going on
CLT
here?
report, they're going next week or,
Yeah,
Okay.
but the pavilion kind of falls under the CLT report. I
Okay,
figure,
go.
right? We reposted this week, for just the, hardscaping. So, the Chris McFarland has made 3 separate sets of plans for us, one with the hardscaping, one with the pergola, one with the landscaping. And we're going out for the hardscaping first, and it's up now. So hopefully Michelle is making sure that all the various masons in town are aware, and we'll see what
I think
happens.
Barbara Wren was gonna send it to.
She
her
did, and,
person,
well,
yeah.
Barbara sent it to me and I sent it to Michelle.
Oh, okay, good, yeah, because that was at the Friends meeting, she
Yeah.
was asking about that, so.
friends. Was that it?
Everything is, the annual appeal just went out, I think I got my
Oh,
letter today.
let me
and
just say,
my last
we're
day.
gonna give an update to, the donors and let them know,
Yeah.
that why it's taken so bloody long
Mm-hmm.
for this project, that we went out, it was too expensive, we fundraised some more. We were about to go out again, found out we needed a stormwater permit, had to hire engineers and get all that done. We posted, got no bids. I mean, it's like,
I think that will be helpful.
yeah.
Yeah,
Shoot me.
because the staff would love it because they get questions pretty
Yeah.
frequently and they don't really know what's going on. I've tried to fill them in to some degree, but
Well,
Be
we will
nice to have
send
a-
you the update and you
Yeah.
can send it to them.
yeah, okay, great. Other than that, yeah, the Friends are gearing up for the annual appeal. They're trying to sell their ornaments, which are I think are oyster shell. And they have a couple of new members and one of them, Pam, made this, I don't know if you'll see it on your way out, this really nice display with a lighted up tree and she has the ornaments on it. It's really eye
It looks
catching.
beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, she did a really, really nice job.
I
So
got it
hopefully
yesterday.
that will, they lowered the price of the ornaments to $20, which I think makes more sense. It was 22 before, which is then, if you're not paying the Venmo or something, you gotta get a change,
$2,
and it's
yeah.
just and I think most ornaments are in the lower, below $20 scale, so I think, they might have more luck selling them, so. So it's nice to have some new members and,
That's great.
good enough, yeah. I don't have anything else. Anyone else?
Anybody?
Great.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone.
So much.
Thank you for your cameo.
I see, it's weird.